So, this is my first time in this wonderful temple, but thank you for welcoming me. And you don't have to afraid to sit close because I'm not going to fight anyone. I'm a vegetarian for quite a while. And so, we'll sing Jara Marla, and then we'll read one or two verses from Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyani Paschatya Deshakarane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Namo Bhagavate
Swami Tasmat Tvamatishta Yashalavasva Vipashatram Bhungsva Rajam Samridham Mayavati Nihata Puruneva Nimittamatram Bhavasavya Sachim. So this is text 33 of chapter 11, which is universal form. Translation. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Purport. Sabyasachin refers to one who can shoot arrows very expertly in the field. Thus Arjuna is addressed as an expert warrior capable of delivering arrows to kill his enemies. Just become an instrument, nimitta matram. This word is also very significant. The whole world is moving according to the plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Foolish persons who do not have sufficient knowledge think that nature is independent and moving without a plan, and all manifestations are but accidental formations. There are many so-called scientists who suggest that perhaps it was like this or maybe like that, but there is no question of perhaps or maybe. There is a specific plan being carried out in this material world. What is this plan? This cosmic manifestation is a chance for the conditioned souls to go back to Godhead, back to home. As long as they have the domineering mentality which makes them try to lord it over material nature, they are conditioned. But anyone who understands the plan of the Supreme Lord and cultivates Krishna consciousness is most intelligent. The creation and destruction of the cosmic manifestation are under the superior guidance of God. Thus the battle of Kurukshetra was fought according to the plan of God. Arjuna was refusing to fight, but he was told that he should fight in accordance with the desire of the Supreme Lord. Then he would be happy. If one is in full Krishna consciousness and his life is devoted to the Lord's transcendental service, he is perfect. So Prabhupada Gita. Tasmat Tvamatishta Yashalavasva Vipashatram Bhungsva Varajam Samridham Mayavati Hata Purvameva Nimittamatram Bhavasavya Sachim. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. So, this is very interesting verse. As we know, as anyone who read a little bit of Bhagavad Gita knows, that Krishna had a plan to kill demoniac forces which were burdening this whole planet a little bit over 5,000 years ago. And he gathered by his plan everyone on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and Arjuna was supposed to lead the army and destroy all those people. But many of those people happened to be friends and relatives of Arjuna, and so he was reluctant to fight with his family members, which is wrong in his case, and in our case that would be different perhaps. But if someone has such a high position like a king, then he should never make any discriminations. Oh, these are my people and these are not my people. And so he should treat everyone equally. Because God treats everybody equally. And so king, as God's representative, is supposed to treat everyone equally as well. But what does it mean? It means, in normal circumstances, that, if, say, someone who is very close to us will do something wrong, something criminal, like member of our family, right? We tend to kind of turn the blind eye at that, right? Kind of, let it go. But the king cannot be like that. If his own family member, even if his own son or brother, will commit crime, king has to punish that criminal activity in the same way as he would, do towards anybody else. And so, in this sense, it was very wrong to Arjuna to consider all these people, even though they committed so many crimes, I cannot take action against them because they are my relatives. So that was not a very good idea. You still have to do it. And we can understand that, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, that Bhagavad Gita is not just addressed to Arjuna, and it's not just a fighting manual for the combat. It's a manual for human life. So this is a life manual meant for any thoughtful person, for any thoughtful human being, because very important principles are described in here. And so, how do we understand what is the fight? I mean, Bhagavad Gita is talking a lot about fighting. So what does it mean for us in our case? What is the fighting? First of all, what is the war? The war is very simple. And it is also very clearly, you see, Bhagavad Gita describes principles and details as well. And so principles are eternal, details may vary. So we might not be physically on the battlefield, but nevertheless we are on the battlefield, right? And what is the battlefield? That this is very clearly described in a couple of places in Bhagavad Gita. One of them is the beginning of the 7th chapter. Apariyam taspanyam prakriti vidime param yogutamaham edam darite jagat. Krishna says, I have superior energy, which is consisting of living entities, and they are struggling to dominate the resources in this world. Just look, any fighting, there are always resources involved, right? Not to criticize anyone or anything, but it's very interesting that, sometimes politicians in this country, they say, oh, we are defending our national interests. But somehow, national interests of this country on a regular basis are happening to be on the opposite side of the globe, right, in the opposite hemisphere, and somehow national interests are lying always in some country with very rich oil resources. So, you know, what kind of national interests America is defending, you know? Like 20,000 miles away from its borders. And so, you can understand that there are all these resources in the world, right? And so, we can understand that it's always happening, people are always struggling, whether for financial resources or human resources or positions, etc., or prestige. And pretty much the same thing is also confirmed or reiterated in the chapter 15, text 7. Mamai Vamsha Jiva Lokeji Upata Sanatana Manashnatani Mugani Prakritistani Karshati. Little bit more elaborately, Krishna explains what is this battle. He again says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Lokeji, all these living entities are my parts and parcels eternally. But they're always struggling, they're always fighting in this world. There is always war going on. And what is this war? Who are the enemies? Manashasthana. Mind and senses are the enemies. As Prabhupada explains, no one was ever born as one's friend or enemy. But it's our mind who says, oh, I don't like this person. The shape of the nose of that person, you know, is not according to my liking. So I'll make sure that this person will have a hard time. And so then this person accepts the rules of our game and also acts inimically towards us. So this is how our mind is creating friends or enemies. Actually, no one's born like that. It's our mental games. And so we succumb to those mental games and start fighting with people. And this fighting is always going on. And sometimes people are fighting and they don't even remember what was the initial reason. Like one man says, I can't really remember what wrong he had done to me, but I know for sure I'll never forgive him. Like that, you know. It's very ridiculous. There is actually a very interesting story from India. India is a very interesting country. Very confusing sometimes. And so, there were two brothers, and they inherited, you know, a lot of wealth from their father. And the father told them, you should, you know, make an agreement and divide everything amongst yourselves, which was a very wrong idea. And so, but they managed pretty much because everything was kind of equal. They had equal shares and everything. And so they divided everything, but then there was one cow, which was an odd cow. And so they couldn't divide, they couldn't decide whom the cow was supposed to belong. And everybody wanted the cow for oneself. You know, and you know, the elder brother was saying, I'm the first son of the father, and so, you know, I'm supposed to own this cow. And the junior brother was saying, no, I'm the pet son of my father, so I'm supposed to have the cow. And they could never decide whom the cow should belong to. And then they went to the court. And of course, as many of you know, courts in India charge enormous amounts of money, right? And so they paid so much money in the court, and you know how the Indian, you know, courts are, they drag on the case and they make you pay more and more money. Actually, I found out how much they make people pay. It's like just to have judges' time to listen to your case. You know how much does it cost in India? It's 5,000 rupees per 1 minute. It's nearly $100 per minute. Can you imagine? And it's not, that judge is not opening his mouth even. Like he's only, you know, you have to pay that much to make judge listen to you. Like for anyone who wants to fight in the court in India, who would strongly advise against it. Probably whatever you're fighting for, you know, the fees you will have to pay will be much higher than whatever you're fighting for. And so they just spent all their wealth. Can you imagine? A lot of money in the court fighting for this cow. And then after they spent all the money and they couldn't pay, they started fighting physically, beating each other up. You know, this cow should belong to me, no, this cow is mine, no, this cow is mine. And then they started punching and kicking each other. And this was going on like every single day. They would wake up, you know, take a shower, brush their teeth, have a quick breakfast, meet up, and start fighting. And they would go on like that whole day. And then, you know, exhausted, they would go to sleep. And next morning, the same thing. And so they were fighting and fighting. And because they were so absorbed in this, the poor cow, you know, because they couldn't decide whom the cow should belong to, no one was really looking after this cow. And this cow was tied to the pole and, you know, was mooing very repeatedly. And they had no time even to untie the cow to let the cow graze, right? Because they were, and the cow finished all the grass around that little patch and couldn't go anywhere else. And so the cow was mooing and they were beating each other. And finally, this poor cow died of starvation. And they were still beating each other up. They didn't notice that. And then one man was passing by, he was asking, "What are you fighting for?" And they told him, you know, "Our father left us with this cow and we cannot decide who the cow should belong to, and so we fighting for the cow." And the man said, "Well, the object of your fight is already gone. The cow is already dead." And they looked at the cow and they said, "Wow, it is amazing. This cow died." And the second brother said, "Yes, this cow died. What to do?" And the first brother said, "We have to take skin of the cow." And the second brother said, "Okay, I'll take the skin of the cow." And the first brother said, "Why you? It was my cow." "No, it was my cow." And they started fighting again. And the man just decided, okay, it's hopeless case, and he just walked home. So, the cow actually represents Dharma. Right? And so we can see it's allegorical story, actually, that there are so many religions who fight again amongst each other. Why? Whom God belongs to. Right? So, this is very stupid idea. Yeah. And they cannot understand a simple thing, as someone said, that God is too big to fit into any religion. Right? God is one for everybody. But people fight who is going to represent God. Why? Because, you know, God became very convenient, a very profitable business, right? That You just say anything on behalf of God and people have to listen to it, right? So it's very convenient business. Right? It's a kind of business, you don't have to produce anything. But the returns are unlimited. And so we can understand that whenever it's happening, it has nothing to do with God. It's really political manipulation in the name of God. So much evil has been done in this world. And so, what's the purpose of ISKCON? Actually, when Srila Prabhupada registered ISKCON, he was very, very clear. Purpose number one, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and teach all people the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values and achieve real unity and peace in the world. Right? So this is what our founder Acharya envisioned. And so each and every one of us should inherit that legacy and help Srila Prabhupada to fulfill his desire to bring real unity and peace in the world. Of course, sometimes we can see that there is no real unity and peace even amongst the devotees. But we can understand that it's not because of Krishna consciousness, it's because of lack of Krishna consciousness. It's because of our own material conditioning we bring with ourselves to Krishna consciousness. So we can understand that whenever this separatist mentality creeps in, then this is the tricks of Maya. And we should never succumb to that. And so it's actually one of the worst Maya's tricks, that devotees start fighting with each other, and because of that they have no time for helping the conditioned souls, giving them Krishna consciousness. And so all the conditioned souls, they just march, pass by devotees directly into hell. And so this is a very pathetic situation. And that has to change. And it is very important for us to become Krishna conscious and help this world. Because the real Krishna consciousness, the true Krishna consciousness, as Prabhupada was saying, is the greatest need of every conditioned soul. And so, therefore, this verse is really important for us. What is this Kurukshetra? This for us? What is the war? And there are two dimensions of this war. One is internal dimension. We have our internal enemies to fight with, who are our internal enemies. Lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusions. And what is our external fight? What is our Shastra? Shastra means weapon in Sanskrit. Like in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, it says, Nanda Shastra Praharana Savi Yuddha Visharada, that so many soldiers gathered at the battlefield of Kurukshetra and they had so many weapons in their hands. And so what is our weapon? What is our Shastra? Spiritual knowledge, right? As Krishna says to Arjuna in the end of the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the very last verse, armed with knowledge, stand and fight. And so this is what we are doing, especially this December month. It's called Prabhupada's Marathon. Actually, this is also month of Bhagavad Gita, right? And so we're trying to distribute this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita far and wide. people to achieve real unity and peace in the world by sharing the instructions of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. And so, therefore, it is very important for us to understand that the exact instructions Krishna gave to Arjuna are applicable in our case, right? That Prabhupada made many times this point that Krishna is not only addressing Arjuna, he is addressing each and every one of us. And so, if you hear this verse and just meditate on that point, that Krishna is speaking directly to you, personally to you, right? And so try to listen to this verse with this mindset, that Krishna is addressing you with this verse. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight, and bring glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. So, how is it relating to you? Anyone wants to share? What kind of thoughts are coming to your mind when you hear those words?
Get a box of Bhagavad Gitas and go out and distribute them and get some money, bring it back, get more.
Very good, yes. Take a box of Bhagavad Gita, distribute, win some wealth, collect some donations from people and bring it to Krishna. Very good. Yes. Anyone else? Sankirtan mission, serving Sankirtan mission. Okay. Yes, good. Anyone else? Yes.
So that Krishna says be an instrument. So like Srila Prabhupada, he has already given all the philosophy and like he has already in fact killed like all the demons for us. So we have to just follow whatever Srila Prabhupada did.
Yes.
We just have to be an instrument.
Follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions. Okay, very good. Interesting verse, because normally devotees are not very interested in these things, right? Prepare to fight and win glory. Devotees are not very interested in fame, right? Then conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. So wealth, devotees are not very interested in wealth or position. Right? But then Krishna tells Arjuna, you should have all this. You should have high position, fame, and wealth. And we can understand that these things matter. It's very interesting that in Mahabharata there is an episode concerning King Yudhishthira. And so Yudhishthira Maharaj told Krishna, I really have one very, very strong desire. And so if you could please help me to fulfill that desire. And Krishna said, oh yes, my dear Yudhishthira, because you are my dear devotee, I can happily fulfill any desire you have. So please tell me, what's your desire? And naturally, Krishna was expecting that Maharaj Yudhishthira will say, being happy, I want to be happy in Krishna consciousness, I want to be always engaged in your service, I want to have always association with your devotees, something purely spiritual, purely Krishna conscious. And then Maharaj Yudhishthira said, I actually want three things. One thing I want is money. I want to have wealth which which no one else has in this world. I want to have more wealth than anyone on the planet. Krishna was a little bit surprised. And Maharaj Yudhishthira said, that was not it. The second one, I want to have the greatest, the most powerful position in this world. Krishna was even more surprised. And third one, Yudhishthira said, I want the greatest fame also. And Krishna said, Yudhishthira, what happened to you? I never expected you to have all these desires. You're not supposed to have all these desires. And then Maharaj Yudhishthira said, yes, I actually don't want any of this for myself. But I'm so sick and tired of hearing that these Hare Krishnas are losers. They can never get anything together.
Not enough. Krishna, help us.
So, I want people to see a devotee who is very, very powerful and very famous and very wealthy and think, whoa, that's really impressive. Yes, and then Prabhu is absolutely right. Prabhupada, very good example of that. Prabhupada actually was never sentimental. He was trying to make a lot of money. In his youth, he was making a lot of effort. To make money for himself? No. Because he wanted to financially help his Guru Maharaj, his mission. But somehow he could never make much. And finally, when he was trying to combine his family life, even though it was not very inspiring. His own wife was against his practices, as you know, and so it was a real drag. Actually, it says that a wife is a manifestation of Lakshmi Devi, and so if wife is not supporting husband in Krishna conscious practices, and naturally, financially, it's not going to work very well. And so, but then finally when Srila Prabhupada decided, okay, I don't want to trying to cross the river in two boats, right? So let me, this family life is not working anyway, so let them carry on, and I'll do what my Guru Maharaj wants, and we can see that he started literally with nothing, right? And he stepped on the American soil. What do you have? Like pennies or 40 rupees. And then we can see what was the result. In the end, I mean, just think about it. Just to open 108 temples. How much money does it take? And also so many restaurants and schools, farming communities, and we can understand that the CNN analysis, which they made a few years ago, was absolutely precise. I don't know how many of you heard about it, but they analyzed 10 people in the 20th century, historical people for this century, for the past century, who became extremely successful in the very end of their lives, who, they say, who had a late start in their career. And so they measure success financially, right? And so out of the 10 most successful people in the 20th century who had late start, Srila Prabhupada is included in that list. And Not only that, but he was the oldest starter, we can say, of all the 10. So we can see even materially, Srila Prabhupada's achievement is so impressive that even completely materialistic people have to acknowledge that he left this world being, probably we can say, billionaire. Because all the wealth, all the assets which Krishna gave him would easily amass to much more than $1 billion according to modern calculation. And so we can see why and how Srila Prabhupada became so successful. So his life example is very important for us. We can learn everything from that. Why he became so successful? And let me ask this question first. How many of you want to be very successful in your life in all respects? Not everybody? Okay, let's see. Anyone wants to be a loser? Okay.
I am a loser, but I want to.
So I can understand it. Those who didn't raise their hands, you were just a little bit lazy. But yeah, we all want success, but not for ourselves, right? Hopefully. So, and this is the best example. Srila Prabhupada is the best example. How do we become successful? What's Srila Prabhupada's secret of success?
Determination.
Determination and enthusiasm and purity. Any more?
His faith in the holy name.
Faith in the holy name. Let's talk about money, right?
It's the honey.
Yeah, that's the important subject. Because if we talk about the empowerment, so if you have nothing, can you be empowered? With holes in your pocket, it's pretty hard to be empowered. So, how did that happen? How did Srila Prabhupada became so financially successful?
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy.
Mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yes. Hmm? Following the orders of the spiritual master. Distributing books. Well, many people did the same thing. Many people distributed books. Many people.
He was very frugal himself.
Huh?
He did not waste anything himself.
That's right.
Nothing.
Yes. That Srila Prabhupada, whatever he was giving to Krishna. That we can see. 100% renunciation. Actually, renunciation is really powerful. And Vaishnava renunciation means whatever you have, you give it to Krishna. And so, actually, this is the greatest success, the greatest secret of success of Srila Prabhupada. It's very simple. How do we understand what is the source of our financial success? How do we make sure that financially we are successful? Where the money is coming from? We can see in this world that there are many, many people. I mean, it's pretty hard to find someone who doesn't want to be wealthy, and pretty hard to find someone who is not, making effort in this regard. But what makes some people, we can ask ourselves very simple question, that why some people are working like 8 hours and they barely make like $100, and somebody else works 8 hours or even sleeps 8 hours. And while before they wake up, they make $100,000,
So what is the difference? Why someone struggles so hard, works so hard, and gets something, next to nothing, and other person without any struggle gets everything? Why is that?
Punya karma.
Karma, yeah, very simple answer. But what does the karma mean? What's the meaning of karma? Why someone is fortunate and someone is unfortunate? Very simple. That the amount of our financial success is not depending on our effort at all. It depends on a very simple thing. How much we gave away. Right? And so, if we give away either for the Lord's service or for some good cause, Krishna also says you can give some for some good cause if you cannot give to me directly. Even though it's not as effective as giving to Krishna or his pure devotee or in the service of Vaishnava. But this is how it works. The more you give, the more you get. That's karma, right? And the more you hold, the more you lose. That's also karma, right? And so this is really important for us to understand that the more we dedicate ourselves, the more we give to Krishna, the more we give, and what do we give? Prana artha diyavacha shriyana charanam sada. Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavatam that the perfection of life is to dedicate oneself to that activity which gives eternal benefit to every living entity. We can understand that this activity can only be Krishna consciousness. And how do we engage in that activity? We give our prana, our life, artha, our wealth, thiya, our intelligence, and vacha, our words. We should dedicate these things for devotional service. And then our success is guaranteed if we do that. It's very simple. Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada ki jai. We still have a few more minutes. Yes, question? But if you could please speak a little louder.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
In terms of karma, so you said about this, you give more and you get more. Now when we talk about, let's say, we do some, while we're walking, we can kill some creatures on the earth, knowingly or unknowingly. At the same time, there are things which we do knowingly. If, let's say, you saw a cockroach or a snake, you kill that. Now in terms of that, how does that fall into cycle of karma?
Killing.
Yes.
Knowingly or unknowingly. So, yes, we're not supposed to kill any living entity because the same karma will come back to us. So knowingly we should not be killing any living entity. But yeah, it can happen unknowingly. I mean, every time we breathe in, we kill millions of living entities. How many of us gathered here in this temple tonight? We may say, oh, few dozens? No. Few billions. But mostly, those who are present here are too small for us to see. But when we breathe them in, they die. And so we kill, with every breath, we kill millions. With every step, we kill millions. So this is cruel world. Jiva Jivasya Jivanam. We live by taking other people's lives or other living entities' lives. And so that's why at least we should give these living entities benefit by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. At least when they die, they will hear the holy name. Right? And if we do like that, if we engage in our devotional service, then Krishna is neutralizing all the effects of our unconscious sinful activities. Like that. But unconsciously we should not harm, or what to speak of killing any living entity. Because the same karma will come back. Even trees. Even if you chop a tree, then karma will work in such a way that you'll become a tree and someone will chop you as a tree. So. It's also killing. Alright? Anyone else? Any other questions? Yes,
Maharaj, thank you very much. You mentioned about lack of Krishna consciousness, specifically with reference to conflicts among devotees. So when devotees are involved, obviously both parties would see it as serving Krishna in their own way, but then there are conflicts. So how does one recognize the conflict as because of lack of Krishna consciousness, and how to address that?
Yes, well, Krishna consciousness, as Prabhupada explains, means live and let others live also. As one of our senior Vaishnavas said, everyone has to live. Everybody's got to live. And so we can say serve and let serve. We should serve Krishna the way we want, but we should not try to force other devotees to serve Krishna the way we want. Let other devotees serve the way they want. Because it's their relationship with Krishna. It is their service to Krishna. Okay, if we want them to work with us, we can try, but if they don't want to work with us, if they don't want to serve with us, let them serve Krishna the way they want to serve. So, if we understand that, actually we should even helping the devotees in their service to Krishna. So, if we follow this principle, serve and let others serve, so there will be no conflict. It's when we think that we should impose our ideas upon other people, this is what creates conflicts. Impose our views on other people. And actually what prevents conflicts? Even amongst families, and I think this could be very valuable, that pretty much mostly we know that if family relations are smooth, then it's easy to practice Krishna consciousness. And if family relationships are strained, it actually disturbs your mind and disturbs your spiritual practices and everything else, right? Do you agree with me? Yes. And so, anyone wants to know what is the best way to prevent any type of family conflicts? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell you next time. I'll tell you now. It's very simple. It's the same thing or the same process which is the foundation of Krishna consciousness. What is the first and foremost process in Krishna consciousness?
Be humble.
No, process, not quality. What is the first and foremost process in Krishna consciousness?
Hearing?
Yes, hearing, Shravana. So in the family, it's also the same thing. Okay, let me see the show of hands. How many of you are married? How many of you have wives? Men? Please raise your hands. Okay, good. How many of you like your wife to always listen to you? Please raise your hands. Okay. And so, very simple. Karma means what goes around comes around, right? As you sow, so shall you reap. Now guess. What do you have to do to make sure that your wife is always listening to you? Right. Ladies know better. Because it's not always happening. Listen to your wife. You may disagree with her, you may not be interested in what she says, but it doesn't matter. Just listen to her. Make it as a discipline. Just give an hour every day. Invest an hour in a day to listening to your wife. And just nod your head. That's all. You don't have to agree with her, but just listen to her. And that's it. And if you do it, I can guarantee your wife will listen to you, and then your family life will be very smooth.
How about 1 hour is not enough?
Have you tried 1 hour?
It could go on 6 hours.
Well, 6 hours, if you haven't listened to her for 6 months, it can go for 6 hours. If you give 1 hour every day, it's going to be less. Don't worry. But of course, don't try to, make it like a show, because it's also artificial. Try to listen and understand what she has to say, right? And then you can discuss. Very simple. So you have to be exemplary devotee in your life and in your family life. Start with Shravan, listening to your wife. And if you don't listen to your wife, you ruin your life. Very simple formula. All right, so I think we ran out of time. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. So, Prabhupada,